Now at 10.
Scientists in San Antonio share their knowledge, what they're doing to fight the coronavirus.
The blue norther arrives. How long this cold air is going to stick around, and there's some rain to talk about as well.
Texas has seen record voter turnout, especially among the younger generation. Coming up, what one grassroots organization believes is swaying this demographic to hit the polls.
Fans are not happy. The players want change. And I've got one play that's going to show you why the wheels are coming off in Dallas.
Eyewitness News at 10 starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Aaron Wright. First at 10, temperatures fall as the season's first big front arrives. Weather Chief Bill Taylor is tracking dropping temperatures. Bill, are we expecting a freeze tonight?
You know, when you get this cold, you start wondering, should we prepare for 32 by morning? But it won't happen. I mean, we've got winds, we've got clouds, might even get a little bit more light rain. Let's go to the big board and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Numbers have been holding steady, like Amarillo, for instance, all day long between 19 or 20. And that's from about noon hour. They have barely seen temperatures move. 20s through the panhandle into the big country, 39 Dallas tonight. But once we get into South Texas, 34 at Rock Springs. They're getting awfully close. 38 at Fredericksburg. But again, because of the setup with the cloud cover and some more light rain overnight, it's really difficult for these temperatures to drop any further. One thing that's so interesting is the swing in temperatures. Why we call it a blue norther? Because we've seen a 30-degree drop from this time yesterday. 32 Bernie, 36-degree swing out in Rock Springs. Incredible. Overnight tonight, temperatures will drop a few more degrees in the city, but we're expecting to stay in the mid-40s. Rain chances will go from 40 to 50%. This will all be very light rain, but you might have some slippery roads by morning. Aaron?
Bill, thank you. Tonight, a stern warning from city and county officials as coronavirus trends in Bexar County move in the wrong direction. Mayor Ron Nirenberg says it's important we continue to take precautions to slow the spread.
Please do everything you can to make sure you follow the health guidance, wear your mask, physical distancing, all the things that the public health professionals have been telling us about. It is crucial to put those into place right now.
He says cases and hospitalizations are increasing, but says we are still on the front end and hopefully we don't see a major surge. Officials reported 151 new cases and 0 new deaths. There are 248 hospitalizations tonight, which is up 11 from yesterday. The risk level has moved up to moderate this week. The school risk level also jumped to moderate. That's after the positivity rate increased to just under 7%. The goal is to have it at 5% or lower. People living in El Paso are being urged to stay home right now as the city deals with a surge in coronavirus cases. Today, a record high of 1,400 new cases were reported there. Every intensive care unit in El Paso is full with coronavirus patients. Because of that, some of them will be coming to University Health Hospital.
We expect less than 10 folks from El Paso for the time being. We'll obviously be monitoring that and reporting.
So far, San Antonio is anticipating about 5 patient transfers. It's part of Governor Greg Abbott's state plan he announced yesterday for state health officials. University Health System says it's watching hospitalizations and says it's ready to accommodate any increase. Scientists at the Texas Biomedical Research Institute in San Antonio are collaborating with different minds across the country to develop a coronavirus vaccine. Eyewitness News reporter Holly Stouffer joins us in the studio. Holly, how exactly does it work?
So, Aaron, a handful of Texas biomed scientists are serving on 7 national committees related to the coronavirus. And once a week, they connect virtually to fight this virus together. The tests inside the Texas Biomedical Research Institute benefit people well beyond the Alamo City.
You have a facility located right next to SeaWorld that is doing this groundbreaking research to help essentially get us back to normal.
For several months, Dr. Ricardo Carrion Jr. has shared his research with scientists across the country. He and a few of his colleagues serve on 7 national committees dedicated to fighting the coronavirus.
The main goal of the committees, all of them, is to try and identify a vaccine or advance a vaccine or therapy.
By working together, Carrion says they can compare results and design better experiments.
there are several hours a week that are done at least sitting on a Zoom, and the rest of the time is trying to understand what's going on in the field to be able to contribute to these committees.
The committees are an added commitment, but Carrion says there's value in the work they're doing. When President Donald Trump was diagnosed with the coronavirus, he was given an experimental antibody cocktail tested by Texas Biomed.
That just kind of reinforces why we're here and the important role that we play.
Carrion says they'll serve on these committees until a vaccine or therapy is approved.
San Antonio has a footprint in this whole COVID-19 response.
Now, work burnout is something many people experience during this pandemic, even through the long hours and countless tests. Carrion says they're committed to eradicating diseases, and when they see their experiments work, it motivates them to keep going. Aaron?
All right, Holly, thank you. Jury selection is underway in the capital murder trial of Ouzts McCain. He's accused of ambushing and killing San Antonio Police Detective Benjamin Marconi. McCain appeared in court for the first time since March, when his trial was postponed due to coronavirus concerns. The attack happened in broad daylight outside of SAPD headquarters in November of 2016. The district attorney is seeking the death penalty in the case. Tonight, confirmation on Capitol Hill. With just 1 week until the presidential election, Senate Republicans vote to confirm Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. Democrats were overpowered in the controversial vote. Trump's choice to fill the seat of late liberal icon Ruth Bader Ginsburg potentially opens a new era of rulings on abortion, the Affordable Care Act, and even the election.
The American people, their lives and rights and freedoms, will suffer the consequences of this nomination for a generation.
Voting to confirm this nominee should make every single senator proud.
Tonight's vote was 52-48, making it the closest high court confirmation ever to a presidential election and the first in modern times with no support from the minority party. President Donald Trump and Democratic challenger Joe Biden are making their final pushes. Both of them campaigned in a key battleground state, Pennsylvania, today. At the president's event, some masks were visible, but little to no social distancing. During Biden's surprise visit, he said Trump is, quote, the worst person to lead us through the pandemic. Meanwhile, Vice President Mike Pence campaigned across the country in Minnesota, despite coming in close contact with his chief of staff, who tested positive for coronavirus. The White House says several other staffers in Pence's office have also tested positive. However, he and his wife reportedly tested negative today. Now at 10, Texas leads the nation in early voter turnout with nearly 7 million votes cast. One contributor, the younger generation. We're talking about people ages 18 to 30. Eyewitness News reporter Zach Briggs breaks down the numbers and explains what's driving these early voters to the polls.
Thousands are flooding the polls during the final week of early voting. Here in San Antonio, 26-year-old Ryan Escamilla is among those hoping to have his voice heard.
This is actually my first time voting. I usually haven't really found it as important as I do this year to get out and vote.
Since 2013, the nonprofit Move Texas has been working to mobilize the younger crowd to become politically engaged. Charlie Bonner says this year is proving to be monumental.
Young people generally show up in the last couple of days of early voting or on election day, but already we've seen more than 800,000 young voters across the state turn out to vote.
At the same time, in 2016, Bonner says just 200,000 young people had voted. All eyes are on the presidential race, but Bonner noted there are several other reasons for why there's such a massive turnout compared to years past.
They're showing up in the streets for racial justice. They're showing up to fight climate change, to end campus sexual assault, to fight for immigrant rights. We know where we stand on these issues, and now we're at the point where we can take action on those issues locally.
Social media continues to serve as a primary source of information for many, especially the younger generation, which could sway results come Election Day.
Zach joins us live. Zach, do we know anything about young voter turnout here in Bexar County?
Well, according to state data, well over 60,000 people ages 18 to 30 years old have voted so far here in Bexar County. Now compare that to the same time in 2016, when just over 20,000 young people cast their ballots. We're live tonight. Zach Briggs, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
It's important to make your voice heard in every election, and our voter team is here to help. So you've mailed in your ballot. What's next? In Bexar County, you can track its path to being counted. Just head to bear.org and follow the link that takes you to the election department's page. From there, click Track Your Mail Ballot. You'll be prompted to enter some personal information. You can track your ballot just like you would a typical package. It's free and helps give you a little peace of mind after sending it off. You can find more on the tracking tool, including a link to the website on kens5.com/voterguide.
You know, it's been a difficult season, a very difficult season for the Dallas Cowboys so far. The team sits at 2-5 after a blowout loss at Washington Sunday. Sports Director Joe Reinagle is here. Joe, the fans are wanting some change.
Yeah, absolutely, Aaron. They do, and really rightly so. You know, if you watched that game yesterday, you saw a team that is really just kind of all over the place. Now, there was one play, though, that the Cowboys are taking a lot of heat over. It's the hit on quarterback Andy Dalton. Check this out. There's a couple of things I want you to watch for. First of all, Jon Bostic lowers the boom on this guy. A bad play on his part, and rightly so, he was ejected. Now, secondly, why was Bostic not fighting off every Cowboy on the field? They should have been all over this guy. Andy Dalton's teammates did nothing but stand there. Well, today, current and former players are ripping them for that. Now, this team right now has no heart. They have no direction. Now, granted, they are injured beyond belief. In fact, they're a patchwork group right now, to say the least. But there's also no fight in this team, and that tends to happen when the team has lost belief in the coaching staff. Remember last week we told you about the team. Some of the players leaked to reporters that, well, the coaching staff just was not getting it done. So the question now is, will Mike McCarthy be a one-and-done head coach in Dallas?
I'm convinced we've got, not convinced, I know we've got the right head guy for the job, and, you know, it's a work in progress. These things just take time, and I know our fans are frustrated. We certainly understand the criticism that's coming our way, that's going to come our way, that's come our way. We understand that, but we've got to go to work.
Well, the Cowboys will get some injured players back this week. That will certainly help, but the holes that they have to fill are giant size, and it's going to take a lot of time. Aaron?
No heart, no direction, Joe. Woof. Temperatures are dropping, and you may feel a draft in parts of your home. What can you do to stay warm and comfortable?
A lot of us